Hello, everybody. It's me, the Red Neko, here today to talk about what I think about the new Total War Warhammers 2 new massive DLC, Mortal Empires. To access this new DLC, simply download the DLC and have Warhammer in your Steam library. Note that Warhammer 1 does not have to be installed. Go into your game and select Campaign, and then select Mortal Empires. You will now see all the old and new races as well as legendary lords, if you have access to them in Warhammer 1. Essentially, this new DLC scans your library and sees what DLC you own for Warhammer 1 and gives you access to it in the game. So, for example, if you have Blood for the Blood Gods and the Wood Elves, you'll now have access to it in Warhammer 2. I personally thought this was a pretty neat way for bridging the two games. For Sega to put out DLC with a free price tag, that is a miracle in its own. This way you don't have to keep switching back and forth just to play as your favorite race. You also now have the ability to fight old races and the new ones, making you adapt to overcome these new strategies. As you can tell, all legendary lords are present with absolutely no changes. Even the semantics are the exact same. I'll go ahead and select the Wood Elves and head to the campaign map to show you some of the changes of the map and what has been cut and moved around to make these changes work. As you can tell again, no changes were made at all. If you have played the Vortex campaign, you may notice that the habitability system was also removed. That was kind of a letdown for me, considering this entire DLC was for sandbox purposes. Every faction is still unique, with their own strengths and weaknesses, and their own objectives and playstyles. All playable factions are also still in their correct locations. It is essentially Warhammer 1 with a way bigger map and new skills, new magics, and minor updates, minor improvements to the game. If we take a look at the map right now, you can already tell some minor factions have been moved around. This is to make up for the map reductions as well as immersiveness and adding new races to the mainland. You can tell a lot of the new lands have been shrunk and cut off with the new continents more than halfway gone. Right here, you can kind of make out where the orcs were and kind of outline where it touches the new lands, right here. If we come over to where the clan Pestilence, Lizardmen, and Teslas of the High Elves spawn, you can tell massive cuts were made, making me wonder how close these factions are to each other now. Now that we go up to the northern continent, cuts were made again, but I can pretty much guess where the Blood Elves will be spawning here. Now, looking at the High Elf main outlet, I can tell not many cuts were made here, as much as minor swaps like Val's Anvil right here. In the Lighthouse, it also looks like KIC was expanded and moved around. This is going to be kind of interesting for Norse tribes and Chaos dealing with all that, but I think it'll be pretty interesting. Now, with the mainland and older Warhammer 1 map, you can tell no map reductions were made whatsoever. Now, I love this DLC, don't get me wrong, especially since it's free, with plans on even combining all three games once Warhammer 3 comes out. I just wish they wouldn't have cut the maps like they have. I understand this map is massive in its own right and would take a while with just one playthrough, even to get around the map, much less control it, but I think that should be an option for the player to make, since it is essentially just a sandbox fun purposes DLC. I also rather like the idea that of all the DLC being added, I think this was a smart move Creative Assembly since it's free. I personally would highly recommend Mortal Empires to any Total War fan. That's all I have to say for today. Be sure to like and subscribe. Sorry for the transitions as well. For some reason, it's not working would be great, but I'll have it try to resolve it soon. Till next time, folks.